Well, that was the exchange, as I say, that has gone viral. Let's bring in Julia Manchester. Now, Julia, you were there for that exchange. What was your take on that?
Well, you know, the mood in the room definitely changed after the vice president said that. It really seemed, watching that he was almost getting frustrated or agitated with this younger voter, and the mood definitely, I think, reflected that in the room. It's important to point out that the vice president has used this dog-faced pony soldier this phrase before while talking to voters and such as a joke. That's what his campaign is really saying at this point. However, it didn't necessarily come out that way to us in the room, and I think it really came after we saw a number of polls showing him slipping in New Hampshire, and those followed the fact that Joe Biden didn't do well in Iowa. So he's been really losing momentum over the past week, and I think this just came up really in that room. It's interesting to point out, though, that Joe Biden is skipping his election night party here in New Hampshire tonight and going to South Carolina instead, where it's more likely to be friendlier territory for the vice president.
More generally, apart from that video clip, and you touched upon it in that answer, I mean, Democrats certainly need a clean result after the fiasco of Iowa, but it is going to be a really important result for Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, and for Biden, but all for different reasons.
Yeah, you know, I think for those reasons, it's very important because they are coming out of an early primary state, the first primary state really, and the second contest state after Iowa. So whoever wins this is going to have a lot of momentum going into Nevada and then South Carolina. But another candidate that I would like to point out who's really done well in recent days in the polls is Amy Klobuchar. I've been following her and Pete Buttigieg around, and it's interesting because you've seen this rock star kind of aura following Pete Buttigieg at his events here in New Hampshire, and you're actually seeing that with Amy Klobuchar as well. Actually, here in Nashua just last weekend, she held an event and 1,100 people showed up, and she's starting to really come up in the polls, you know, trailing Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders. And actually, those are the three candidates that I hear most about when talking to voters. So I think the polls are really reflecting this time around what's happening on the ground here in New Hampshire.
And of course,